Welcome, ladies. It's so good to see you guys again together. The January cohort is back together, even though you guys have been together, I think, since leaving here the end of February. So thank you for coming and giving some post. We welcome post commentary and talk about just kind of the before and after, because that's what we do a little bit of talking about. And then we'll be talking a little bit about the after yappas, so the post yappas that really lead into the Repioneering Church and the No Wasted Time Network and the commerce metrics. Tell me about that, because sometimes you do the little activities and then you're going back to your regular life. Tell me how that has interplayed with you guys in this time, since there's been some time. How long have you guys been gone now? This is April. Let's see.
2 months.
Almost 2 months.
Yeah.
It's going to be 2 months. You guys got here mid-January, 20th of January, I think.
Yep.
So it's now April, first week. We're going into the second week of April.
April 9, yeah.
Well, you come for a month. You've been gone for a month. You know, some of those nice little things you just go do, and then you just go back to your life. Like you take a respite, and then you just unpause and go back to your life. Tell me about how that has that been possible for you guys?
It's impossible. It's been impossible.
There's no unpause.
No.
I mean, all the other stuff that we always did to survive or live or whatever, that was always on call. I mean, that was a constant. And what the program has done is give other things to incorporate into that constant that don't make that constant be what it was, I guess. It doesn't have the same relevance, how I think about things, how I come to some resolve. How about that? I come to some resolve. Whoa, what a concept in and of itself. Because fluff doesn't really allow for resolve. We just keep the story going.
Transformative.
And I again I have to temper myself because I want to share everywhere I go.
Yeah, we do.
Hey, what you saying right now? That ain't right.
Right.
You know, I want to share because it is valuable.
But our closest sister friends, they know when we say, "Oh, what figure you working out of?" They understand what we're saying now because we challenge them. Okay, what figure you working out of? Yeah.
Because that don't feel good to you, right? When it don't feel good, you working out of some trash. You in the garbage can right now.
Yeah.
So
you guys came for a month. Let's just go on and answer the question. Aren't y'all healed now? Ain't you healed?
hell yeah.
Let's talk about that. You know, I talk about healing lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in a 100% trauma rate. I've spent more time than anyone working with these tools. I'm talking about my own life. I ain't talking about work and helping other folks. I'm talking about me. The journals on the shelf, the books with the binding, my stuff. Part of it is we live in a traumatizing world. Other people ain't healing. And so if we choose to be in community, we accept certain risk that others don't share my values and that I could be traumatized. I have the tools now, but the reality is I could be traumatized. What do you say to those who may come away from this saying, well, you know, they're all healed now, they've been for this month, or that may say, I'm gonna go down there for a month, I'm gonna get this intensive, they done said it's worthwhile, and I'm gonna leave there, I'm gonna be healed, I'm gonna be all better, I'm all done, I did these 30, I'm all done.
No, you're not.
You're just beginning, because now you got to go out into the real world. And
wait a minute now, you may have issues, but me, I don't have these big trauma things. There was, I had a 2-parent family and we were middle class. I don't have the kind of stuff. How would you respond to that with your new understanding from this methodology of trauma, from your experience with beginning the process, dipping your toes in the water of the social tech, how would you help people have a realistic picture of your healing journey, even with tools like, ain't y'all fixed yet?
No.
This is a work in progress.
Always. Life is the curriculum. This is always a work in progress.
I was a work in progress before I got to you.
Right.
Okay. I'm working on something else.
Right.
How about that? I'm working on a whole different thing. But to answer your question, what do you say to other people? Like, where's your joy? Two-family household, and I grew up in middle class, and I'm happy. Where is your joy? What do you do that really feeds your soul, and what things don't?
Right.
So that imbalance, because everybody's got them. I don't care who you are, you ain't always happy because something happened. It's a pivotal point in everybody's life.
Yeah.
So those that come and say those things, I can walk away from that set saying, I don't believe you, and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that you believe that, or if you do believe that, it's okay. I don't feel the need to fix. I don't feel.
Let me throw another question in there while you guys are answering that. The other piece is sometimes when we think about healing, we think about these great big things. We talk about boulders, but our process talks about moments.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right.
One incident that might have been 5 minutes. It might have been 30 seconds in passing. It might have been 1 minute. How do you reconcile this with how this is helping you heal the big stuff? And were you surprised that some of the things that were big stuff were small things?
Oh, absolutely surprised. I mean, I had a whole 10-year period of my life that I thought was the narrative. This is what happened. 10 whole years that was broken down into probably 10 minutes of my young life that perpetuated that narrative the whole rest of my life.
How many years did that affect you? How many years were you affected behaviorally? The things that you were doing, the drugs of choice, the behavioral drugs of choice.
Half a century plus.
68.
So something that happened in 10 minutes of life lasted
absolutely
decades?
Absolutely. And that's what this program challenges you to do. Break it down to the moment that it happened, what actually happened. And like I said, you can't unsee it any other way once you see it like that. You really can't. And so that allows you to then, as you're moving through this thing called life, break it down into the moment. What happened in that particular moment? What is the fact? What are the facts? And how you gonna respond?
What you doing with it?
What you doing with it? What you doing? And in business, just recently, I had to stop and pause, remove ego, because it was bruised and hurt and all the things. Remove ego and get down to the facts. And Wendy and I sat down. These are the facts. Okay, well, now you know how you can maneuver, how you should move, so that it is no longer hurting me. It's not traumatizing me over and over and over. And like I said, it's a different way of thinking. It really, really is. It's like reprogramming your brain to not put ego first.
It is.
Yeah, and that's hard.
Because the ego got to get fed now.
I mean, it's greedy.
The hungriest part of our society.
Doesn't that sound like addiction?
Feed me.
At any cost, by any means necessary, I'm gonna get my fix.
Yes.
Must.
Yeah.
And we see it. So you guys made it through the month. Did you stay? Diamond? Let's tell the people. Did you stay?
I did not run away. I did not reach for flight. No, I stood and I fought for my freedom. And I am so glad I did.
And then we talk about tools. We'll take one more incident and then kind of do some post talk. We talk about tools, but this work, the work of Repioneering Church, says we need all of these principles and tools that we have that are about healing. And one of the things that you guys had the opportunity to experience was to go and participate with one of the shamans that I've been involved with here, and participate in ayahuasca, another tool for healing. One of the things I said I was going to do, I was working as a historian over a decade ago now, and I said when I retire, I'm going to do documentaries on shaman and shaman medicine, because I think the way indigenous healers use the tool is when you can't get back on balance yourself, the shaman can administer the medicine that helps remove the curtains of your ego and gives you the opportunity to connect with truth and love, God, divinity. And as I have explored some of the shaman and the work and the medicine here, it has confirmed my thesis that says these are pieces that used to be a part, and that still are with a lot of indigenous faith traditions, of the help that we have in society when society gets us off balance, when life be lifing, and you can't get that ego stuff removed away enough to get to the truth, to get to the core. And so both of you had the opportunity to go and share in that experience while you were here in Cuenca with ayahuasca. One of the traditional medicines that's two plants that are combined, that's used by the locals as a regular part of their healing regiment, toolbox. It's respected here in a way that warms my heart, the way the respect of it just being a regular life thing. Tell me a little bit about that, because that was another layer that some people don't experience in coming here and doing the logical healing part, learning the tools so that when you're sober and coherent, that you have tools to function with. Tell me a little bit about that layer.
Sure. Can you still see us?
Yeah, I still see you, which I got.
Okay, good. All right. So, one of the biggest challenges for me, my lifelong challenge, was my relationship and my belief system around crying. I believed that crying was a sign of weakness, and I always saw myself as a very strong woman. And so, when I would tell my daughter when she was growing up, stop crying. Come on, strong women don't cry. Playing basketball or whatever the case may be. And the 30 days really challenged that belief around that emotion. And when I did ayahuasca, first of all, I was afraid, because I was afraid of all the wrong things. I was like, okay, I don't want to throw up, and I don't want to, go to the bathroom on myself and all the things, right? I didn't want any of that to happen. So I was ego driven. Those were ego fears that I had. And while I was in ayahuasca, after the second dose of the medicine, a calm came over me. And with that calm came a release of tears. I mean, like ugly, like body shaking. I couldn't stop. And so I knew that's what I needed to be able to reconcile that belief around tears. And it was powerful. It was very powerful. And none of the ugly ego things that I was afraid of happened, right? I was clean when I as clean as I was when I arrived, right? So it was none of that, but it was completely unexpected. It was just that flow of emotion and release that my body and my soul needed. So ayahuasca was great for me. Yeah.
My experience was a little different. I came in with expectations that I didn't get, and I'm not sure what the components were that made me not receive as well as I wanted to. But I was very relaxed. I was always very conscious of my surroundings. But there were just times when I was just asleep. And maybe that's synonym for my life. Maybe I'm just asleep. Let me just wake up. I don't know.
And I mean, and it was challenging in that it was all done in Spanish, and we didn't understand half of what was being said.
Half.
most of what was being said. There was no translation. But at the end of the ceremony, when we all shared our experiences, we could identify emotionally with the words that we could not comprehend.
Sure.
So, you know, it's I don't know. It just transcends language barriers because it's really on a spiritual level.
One of the parallels for me is in the healing circle, time, that component of this that's a real critical part of community integration of healing. We talk about identification, and even coming here has a lot of other factors. The ideal of, as an American, being decentered. No one is catering to your lack of knowledge. No one is singling you out for preferential treatment. Oftentimes you're just regular, but coming into a space that is Spanish based, and knowing that healing is your own personal journey, but being in that space where you're experiencing others sharing, there is an identification that you can do, if nothing but the meaningfulness of this to someone else, and identifying that with things that have been meaningful to you in your life. So even without the language, our emotions speak to us in ways that we can understand. That for me has been kind of one of those extra bonuses of just insight that parallels this work, because we talk so much about identification, not sympathy, about identify what from your life. Can you remember feeling like that so that you can identify, so that you're not judgmental about it? You can have compassion when you're hearing, but that it also is used for your healing. Ooh, that brings up sometimes when I've been angry or hurt or empty or disappointed. Ooh, I know the heaviness of that. Wait a minute. I'm feeling the heaviness all over again. Are there some areas that this has brought up for me? Thank you. Thank you for triggering this in me. Where my journal at? 6 words or less. I got something else to add to my journal.
That was powerful.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't have you get to choose when and how fast you heal and what you heal from. And you say, what should I heal from? Life is the curriculum. What did life bring up today? What was triggered? It's giving you the opportunity to address it. What was triggered? Because it's giving you at least a push pin. Put a pin in that.
Yeah.
That probably has some threads tied to it that go somewhere, but at least you have a starting point for that rabbit trail, for that adventure in healing, and then you can follow it. If you've got the tools, you can do it over and over again till you follow that trail all the way until you've unwoven that from your life, all the way down to something ain't quite on the right.
Yep.
Or this triggered something. Is there a present situation that I should be afraid of? No, but I'm yet afraid. Where'd it come from? Ooh. It ain't happening right now. There's not a legitimate reason for me to be in my defense mode. Got my dukes up. This thing right here, if I think about the facts, isn't something that I got to be afraid of. I'm a big kid right now. So if I'm feeling it and it doesn't match the facts of what's happening, it's from somewhere else. Now I know how to go find it. If I'm so true.
Right.
Yeah.
With a little less fear.
Yeah.
I got tools. I don't have to be as insecure about, can I deal with it? I don't have to be as afraid. Can I deal with it? I may have let go of some value, so I no longer have to feel guilty.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
About seeing my garbage come up. That bag to fly open and it fly up in my face and say, would you like to deal with me now? Because then I can choose. Not today. But thank you for alerting me, and I'm gonna get to you as soon as I have the mental energy and capacity to address it, if I'm committed to a healing lifestyle.
Right.
So then you guys left. Give me just a 1-minute synopsis, because then I want to get into the post-yapas and talk a little bit about the economic benefits of doing this work in community and how it relates to economics, residual economics for those that participate in our system. Tell me, in leaving and in the month that you've had since going, just to kind of give watchers or listeners a picture or a snapshot of the practicality? You've mentioned it a couple of times, but just kind of a summary of the practicality of how you see using these things in an ongoing way. Since y'all said you ain't done healing, since you said that, how do you see this impacting you going forward? Just a little bit about the follow-up, like, okay, we've left. Lorana's not here every day to remind you over and over and to repeat over and over, because part of that is so that it gets ingrained, so that it becomes automatic. She said, step one, what are the facts? What are the facts? What are the facts? Feelings are facts. What are the facts? What are the facts? No fluff, no figs. What are the facts? Now you're kind of out on your own with these tools. Tell me about how you're using your toolbox. How practical is it? I talk about practical theology. Is it helping us or not? If it's not practical, what we doing? Are we wasting our energy and oxygen? And folk don't need to come if it ain't practical. If it's only good while you're here and then you know you're going to leave, for those that aren't here full time, tell me, just give me kind of your summary of we left and now how competent do we feel and what are we doing and how is this really interplaying in our lifestyle?
I think in the beginning, when we first got here, there might have been some drugs of choice used to distance a little, but you really can't do that. So I can't do it as successfully. So the tools that I learned, whether I want to employ them or not, are still here. Just like the dysfunction that I learned, whether I want to employ it or not, is still here. So I have a choice on how I'm going to roll out with any given situation. Am I going to use, which one of these things am I going to use to get past whatever trauma has come up for me? And while I may not be a journaler, I really am a thinker. I really am giving my feelings space and giving myself permission. Part of this journey has given me permission to explore things that I thought I dealt with or was afraid to deal with or whatever. But I can say that I can look at that and not have to make up a story to go with it. I can give it the narrative. I can give it truth. I don't have to. I can employ the facts. I don't have to supplement them with my feelings anymore. So that's what generally happens. You know, I'm using up my other toolbox. Yeah. To do stuff.
Yeah, I can agree with that 100%. You know, just having effective ways to deal with everyday life situations.
Because they're going to be there.
They are always going to be there. And as I've talked to the people who are closest in my circle, and our conversations are just a tad different. And, you know, they are recognizing the difference. Not that I'm trying to employ terminology or any of that. I am simply using the tools that I now have. And those people who know me the best are like, that sounds different. That feels different for you. And so that's affirming feedback that I am living it, you know. It's not 30 days and then you put it aside and you keep doing what you were doing, how you were doing it.
Just can't.
It's an impossibility. And I feel more empowered in the way that I'm transacting with, you know, business partners, personal relationships. I feel more empowered because I'm not operating out of any fig. You know, the decisions I'm making are not fear-based. I'm not self-sabotaging. You know, I'm not having, you may feel some guilt, but I'm not operating out of guilt in any of my decisions. And that is liberation.
It's a difference. I still feel
huge difference.
No, I'm still afraid about things.
Mm-hmm.
And things that I owned before being afraid about.
Mm-hmm.
but I would have made up a story to go with it. But now I'm just okay. You scared? Now what?
Right.
You're not gonna die. You didn't die from none of that fear before. So now you know that you got something other than a Band-Aid to fix it. And so how does that make you feel as the curator for all of this?
Yes.
How does that make you feel knowing that I mean, I'm sure you've had these conversations with people that have gone through the program before. Are their experiences similar in that they've come out different than how they went in? And what does that do to you?
One of the best titles that fits me is a social scientist.
Right.
And it has been 14 years dealing with this part of social tech, this particular tool. And one of the things I realize is that you can't unlearn it. And that is the stuff, in the mad social scientist mind that
Yeah.
If people use these tools, you will never not have an alternative processing methodology somewhere in the attic of your mind.
Yeah.
Some people don't use it until crisis happens. Talk about
But isn't that what we're trying to avoid? Crisis? We don't want to get to that point.
My reality. I teach about the paradigm shift, and the reality is that for many, crisis is what shifts the paradigm. One of the clips, and we didn't go into it because it would have taken us on another